Yes, you sure could. Good man.
Yes, a fine man. Just could never catch up with his dreams, that's all.
What could be so dirty on that woman's rugs that she has to vacuum every single day?
Well, I wish certain young women around here, who I could name, would take some inspiration about certain rugs in a certain department that I could also mention.
How much cleaning can a house need, for Christ's sake?
Benny! Just listen to her.
Oh, God.
Just listen.
You use that Lord's name just one more time.
Oh, Mama!
Precious salt, this girl.
If the salt loses its savor.
Now that'll do. I just ain't gonna have you round here reciting scriptures in vain. You hear me?
How did I manage to get on everybody's nerves just by walking into the room?
If you weren't so fresh.
Ruth, I'm 20 years old.
What time you be home?
Kinda late. Madeline is gonna start my guitar lessons.
Yo, what kind of lesson?
Guitar.
Oh, Father.
What made you take it in your mind to learn to play the guitar?
I just want to, that's all.
Lord, child, don't you know what to get tired of this now? Now you get tired of that little do-it-yourself? Now how long it gonna be before you play acting group you joined last year? And what was it the year before that?
For horseback riding club, for which she bought that $55 riding habit that's been hanging in her closet ever since.
Lord, child, why you gotta flit so from one thing to another?
I just want to play the guitar. Is there anything wrong with that?
Ain't nobody trying to stop you. I just wonder sometimes why you gotta flit so from one thing to another all the time. You ain't never done nothing with all that camera equipment you got sitting up there now.
I don't flip. I experiment with different forms of expression.
Like riding a horse?
People have to express themselves one way or the other.
Well, what is it you want to express?
Me! Don't worry. I don't expect you to understand.
Who you going out with tomorrow?
George Murchison again?
Oh, you getting sweet on him.
You ask me, she ain't getting sweet on nobody but herself. Express herself!
Oh, I like George all right, Mama. I mean, I like him enough to go out with him and stuff, but
What does and stuff mean?
mind your own business.
Stop picking that now, Ruth. What does it mean?
Oh, I mean, I couldn't ever really be serious about George. He's so shallow.
Shallow? What do you mean he's shallow? He's rich.
Hush, Ruth.
I know he's rich. He knows he's rich too.
Well, what other qualities does a man got to have to satisfy you with, girl?
You wouldn't even begin to understand. Anybody married to Walter couldn't possibly understand.
Now, what kind of weight is that to talk about your brother?
Brother is a flip. Let's face it.
What's a flip?
She's saying he's crazy.
No.
Not crazy. Brother isn't really crazy yet. He's an elaborate neurotic.
Hush your mouth.
As for George, well, George looks good. He's got a beautiful car and he takes me to nice places. And as my sister-in-law says, he's probably the richest boy I'll ever get to know. not even like him sometimes. But if the youngins are sitting around waiting to see if their little Benny is gonna tie up the family knot with the Murchisons, they're wasting their time.
You mean you wouldn't marry George Murchison if he asked you to? That pretty rich thing? Honey, I knew you was on.
No, I wouldn't marry him if all I felt for him was what I feel now. Besides, the Murchisons wouldn't really like that.
Why not?
Oh, Mama, the Murchisons are honest to God, real live, rich colored people. And the only people more snobbish than rich white people are rich colored people. I thought everybody knew that. I met Mrs. Murchison. She's a saint.
You must not dislike people because they well off, honey.
Why not? It makes just as much sense as disliking people because they're poor.
Well,
And lots of people do that.
she'll get over some of this.
Get over it? What are you talking about, Ruth? I'm going to be a doctor. I'm not worried about who I'm going to marry yet. If I ever get married.
If.
Now then,
Oh, I probably will. But first, I'm going to be a doctor. And George, for one, still thinks that's pretty funny. I couldn't be bothered with that. I'm going to be a doctor. And everybody around here better understand that.
of course you gonna be a doctor, honey. God willing.
God hasn't got a thing to do with it.
Beneatha, that just wasn't necessary.
Neither is God. I get sick of hearing about God all the time.
Beneatha,
What has he got to do with anything? Does he pay tuition?
you about to get your fresh little Joseph.
She needs all right.
Why? Why can't I say what I want to around here like everybody else?
It don't sound nice for young girls to talk that way. You weren't brought up like that either. Me and your father went to trouble every Sunday to get you and your brother to church.
Oh, Mama, you don't understand. It's all a matter of ideas. And God is just one idea I don't accept. It's not important. I'm not going out being immoral, committing crimes because I don't believe in God. I don't even think about it. It's just, I get tired of him receiving all the credit for the things that the human race achieves through its own stubborn efforts. There simply is no class to God. There is only man, and it is he who makes miracles.
Now, you're gonna repeat after me. In my mother's house, there is still God. In my mother's house, there is still God.
In my mother's house, there is still God.
There are some ideas that we're not going to tolerate in this house. Not as long as I'm the head of this family.
Yes, ma'am.
you're a grown woman, then, but you own your child. What you did was childish, see? So you got treated like a child.
I also see that everybody thinks it's all right for Mama to be a tyrant. But all the tyranny in the world will never put a God into heaven.
She said she was sorry.
They frightened me, Ruth. Gotcha.
You got good children, Lena. They're just a little off sometimes, but they're good.
There's something that come up between me and them. Just don't let us understand each other no more. And I don't know what it is.
Now, you're taking it all too serious. You just got strong, shrill women. And it takes a strong woman like you to keep them in hand.
They spirit all right, my children. Got to admit they got spirit. Then they won't. Let this old plant grow. But they never got enough sunlight enough. And look at it.
You sure love that old thing, don't you?
Well, I always wanted myself a garden, like the one I used to see in the back of houses down home. And this plant, it's close as I ever got. Dog, ain't nothing more dreary than a view from this dreary window on a dreary day. Why you ain't singing this morning, Ruth? Sing that no ways tired. That always lifts me up. Ruth! Ruth, honey! Ruth!
And see,